How's it going? Dan from Comic Book Investments. So today we're going to look at GoCollect, the GPA Analysis, and CovrPrice. And what exactly are those? They're basically a way to collect real sales data of actual sold listings or auctions or buy it nows, so you can actually calculate real numbers. It's kind of like the Overstreet price guide back in the day, but that was just kind of, I don't even know how they came up with their numbers. They just kind of guessed, I guess, Just like, sure, it went up $2 this year. But this is actual sales. And I'm going to go through each of these websites. I'm going to talk to you the pros, the cons, give you my overall opinion on each one of them. And each of these offer different things other than just sales numbers. They offer, blogs, top 10 lists. They even offer sales data on other collectibles and a way to calculate your collection on how much it's worth and input your own comic collection. Okay, so right now, let's go through them and kind of see what they look like and what they offer so you can kind of give a rundown of what exactly they're like.
Okay, so here is CovrPrice, and this is what it kind of looks like. Very nice. I can't say enough about the design. I love the design of CovrPrice and how it looks. So you can go through, this is the front page. You can search for a comic here and an issue. You can look at the top hottest keys right here. It gives you kind of what's trending as the hottest. You can also look down to the top keys, and these are the top keys. Just a bunch of lists. You can jump into them if you want. I'm just kind of going through the front page. You got top rare finds. Right, these are ones that are a little more obscure. All right, this one's a good one. This one's pretty hard to get, actually. This Nintendo Comic Systems Bone. Yeah, so a lot of these are very, very good. Then you got like your top variants, right? And these are just variant covers, ones that are trending and, pretty hot right now. You got, the weekly top 10. This is where every week they give you different 10 comics that are basically moving up through the ranks, being very, popular. A lot of people are buying them, right? And I've done these before. You've seen them. I like this list. They also send you an email with a rundown of why this book is on here, why this book is on here, why like the Eternals is on here. Tons of data on the trend and stuff like that. Then you got movers and shakers, which are ones that are, recently have beaten previous highs, things like that, like for price and stuff like that. Then you also got new releases down here, and it'll give you a list of all the new releases that are coming out. And then that's pretty much the main focus of it. You can also search. So say you wanted Spider-Man 50, first Kingpin. You can search through that. And then, so it will pop up with whatever you want, Spider-Man 50. So here we go. All the 50s. Web of Spider-Man 50, Ultimate Spider-Man 50. We got it down here. You can click into these. It also has the foreign variants as well. So you'll click in, and all the comics will pretty much look like this. It'll show you the previous issue and the next issue. This is 51, and the previous one is 49. It has a little key here, meaning it's the first appearance of Kingpin. You can look for it on eBay or My Comic Shop. You can add it to your wish list if you want it. You can add it to your collection. Now here is kind of like the data side. It will show you the last recorded sale, which was October 17th of 1.8, sold for $4.99. Gives you a trend. Shows you kind of the fair market value of the average sale, which is a 7. So shows you the raw, this is unique to CovrPrice. Raw comic sale average is 803. So you got it right here. Shows you the UK variant. These are the known variants. You got this one and this one. So you can come down a little more. Shows you all the tracked total sales that they have. Highest known, this is kind of interesting. Highest known sale, a 9.8 sold on April 30th, 2020 for $55,000. And then this is where you can kind of break everything down. It doesn't matter what you click, right? If you click this, all this, they all kind of bring you to the same page. So you'll click it. I just click the graded one. Here's the graded one. It shows you like sales volume, and then it shows you here 9/8, 9/6. It goes through all the years, right? Goes down to December 13th, December 2013. You know, more sales. It looks like they're slowly adding in sales. But yeah, so as you can see right here, you just got all the graded sales of an 8/5. You can go through the year. This will be a month. If there's multiple in the same month, they'll put them side by side like this. You can also look at the raw sales. And this is volume every single day in raw sales on probably the online markets. So, you know, $1,900 of raw ungraded Spider-Man 50s were sold on August 2nd. And then it's the same thing. Gives you a bunch of data. March 2021, all this data. Sometimes they put the grade down, but again, with raw data, it like 127, and this one sold for 400. What is that? It doesn't really tell me much because I don't know the grade. Was this a 1.0 and this was an 8.0? Or was this an 8.0 and this was a 1.0? You don't really know, right? Sometimes they put the grade down. That can help a little bit, but at the same time with ungraded stuff, it's all subjective. I could literally take a comic book and call it an 8.0 and it can come back from CGC like a 1.0. So it's really hard, especially if they had links to pictures, maybe that would help a little more because then you can kind of look yourself. But yeah, so that's kind of CovrPrice. You can also go up to My Collection where like if you save your data or a wish list or things you have, right? These are ones I've already saved. And you can look at it. I have 2 at Spider-Man number 1. Spider-Man the first series. Here they are right here. And then if I jumped into my Spider-Man 50, you can fill out all this information. Look, it'll tell you what I have. I have a 7.0. What if I change that to a 3.5? You can change it to a 3.5. This is basically adding in what you have into your collection. It just gives you the fair market value of the average sale, which is 7.0. You can give your little review, say how much you paid for it, $500, the date you paid for it, all that kind of stuff. That's pretty nice. And then you'll have your wish list is things that you want. If you go into, say, like Warlock right here, number 1, and you wanted to add one, you'd hit this My Collection thing. What do you have it graded under? Let's say it's CGC. What is a grade? Let's say an 8.5 quantity. You hit more. You can hit the date that you purchased it. I'm just picking random days. And you purchase price, $100,000. That's what you paid for it, right? And you can add in maybe where you bought it, all sorts of stuff. And you add your comic. Pretty simple. Now it's in your collection. So that's pretty much the rundown of. So this is GoCollect. They just recently updated their website. So you go to your dashboard and this is where all your information is. It gives you kind of like news, what's going on in the comic market. It has concert posters, news, the hottest, sellers of video games and other video game news. If you're into that stuff, they have tabs for video games and other collectibles. They also have their top 10, top 5, things like that, all right here. All their different blogs, tons of different blogs to choose from and how it's kind of laid out. And, they'll give little things like, Ghost Rider's burning up, and they'll talk about what the prices were, what they're going to be, just kind of more speculation kind of thing and things, to look for, giving you different prices that they've gone for and how much they've gone up. Right, so this one's just specifically Ghost Rider. So if we wanted to search Spider-Man 50 again and see how this one looks, right? So you got all the Spider-Man 50s all laid out right here. You even got video games and it looks like statues. So they have different collectibles. So let's go with the first Kingpin, of course, so you can see the difference. You can watch this one and it'll show up when things sell and things like that. If you want it, if you like it, things like that. Add it to a list, comics I own, comics I want, right? It shows you the Cgc Census Data. CBCS doesn't have a census, but at least it can show you the data, which is how many have been graded. For example, at a 9.6 in Universal, there's only 15 graded, right? Gives you an example there. Then it gives you all the price data, right? It doesn't have raw sales. That's only CovrPrice. Then it gives you kind of little, dots of when they've sold, so you can kind of make out a little graph of what's going on, right? And then it will show you ones that have sold. And here's one sold. So, this one's September. This is for 6.5. Pops up over here on the right. And as you can see, it's $200, dated sold, verified sale, and then the images of the sale, which is kind of nice. You can click this, and it'll go to the page where it's sold. So if they have the data, like if it links to eBay, it'll show it. If not, if the eBay link is old, it goes to nothing. If it's from Comic Link, it goes to nothing. So it really, depends what the link is going to. Sometimes they work, sometimes they really just don't go to anything at all because the site that they link to no longer has it on their site, right? So let's see if we can go here. Let's see if I can give you an example. Yeah, error, see? So it doesn't show anything, right? This is too old for eBay. So, it's nice that they save the pictures so you can see the pictures, but that's about all because after a while, a lot of these links become old. So that's pretty much, if you want to, say it's comics I own, you put it in a list. Here it is. You can give estimates, a lot of, different things that you want, references, how much you paid for it. Just kind of track this comic as it goes in your collection. Comics I own, here we go. I click it, and if you're tracking it, it'll give you a little bell and notification. This is another one I'm tracking. You can put $200, whatever you want. You can upload your pictures, all that kind of stuff if you want to track it. Sales data, more things like that. So that's pretty much GoCollect. All right, and here's the GPA analysis. Let's run through this. Basically, here's the front page. Not really much going on, just kind of gives you a sales pitch of what's going on. Shows you their sponsors and their links down there. That's about it. If you looked at market reports, this is kind of interesting. It'll tell you basically in Silver Age, $5 million have sold in the month of August. The top 20 sold for this. Kind of gives you some interesting data if you want to see the overall market. In the last year to date, roughly it's been $221 million in sales of CGC books, comics only. That's quite a bit. That doesn't include CBCS or Raw or anything else. News, they don't really have much in the way of news, just kind of telling you little things. They don't really do much, like any top 10s or any speculation or a deep dive into any comic or any series. It's kind of pretty much bare bones. If you went to analyze prices, that's pretty much why you're here. And you want, I have all these saved, right? These are all ones saved. I go down to Spider-Man 50, open it up, and here's all the ones from Spider-Man 50. You can search if you want restored, if you want qualified, you want signature, whatever that, you can get rid of that. If you want to look at the live listings of what's being sold, here it is. Here's all the links to them. Look at the sales data. So if we jumped into, like a 8.0, this is kind of what it looks like. It gives you a nice graph. GPA is the oldest of all the three, and so has lots of history of data being sold. So it goes way back 2002, pretty much when CGC first started. And you can see a graph of it trending up and spiking. And then this gives you all the years. It shows you the highs and the lows. If you roll over these, it'll tell you down here, the dark purple is the average, but if you see these little light purples, that gives you the difference in price, right? You had a high of 1930 and a low of 1300 in this particular month, and it gives you the average of them, 1600. So you can look at the years, you can open that up, and if it has a little line underneath, that means you can click it and it will take you to the link where it was sold. This one was sold on Heritage. Other than that, it just gives you the serial number and the date it sold, and that's it, right? Not much going on in terms of data. But that's pretty much what it looks like. Now, if you, it also has a link to the census, so you can click the census and it can go there. If, let's say, I'll type in Spider-Man. Let's say there's a series that I don't have saved. I don't have this one. You can save it just by clicking it. Save this title. And you'll have the title saved if you want to save it. But that's pretty much about it. Like, there's not much to it. You can even save a particular, if you click this little star, it'll save this title and this issue and this grade. So if I click that star, it would save. I can put the price I paid, my certification, add to my purchases, right? You can look at My Comics, and you can kind of, if you saved them and put in the price, you can say how much it cost and basically what it's worth now. And, that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much the GPA.
Okay, now that you've seen what they look like and what they offer, let's go through the negatives of each one.
All right, so here are the negatives, my negatives for CovrPrice. Let's type in Spider-Man 50 again, right? It's really slow. So you go to this white screen, sitting, okay, there. Then you have to scroll through, like, why is it only showing me 5 of them, right? Spider-Man, so I click it, loads, white screen. Yeah, so it's just really slow. And so it's like when you have to jump through all these hoops to get where you want to go. And every time you click a new link, it takes a while. I don't like that. Another thing is, let's do a bigger book. So let's search up here. Let's do Spider-Man 300. Oops. Okay. And what they do is they don't condense their sold listings how you see in maybe GoCollect or GPAnalysis. And I'll show you what I mean. So something that has like a lot of sales, like a Spider-Man 300, it's going to have tons and tons of sales, right? So if I'm at here at 9.4, right? Let's say I want to look at a 6.0. You can't condense this, right? It just, you scroll, 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 scroll. Look, I have to go through all the years. Oh, now I'm at a 9.2. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Okay, now I'm at a 9.0. Scroll, now I'm at 85. Look how long I have to scroll. Just keep scrolling, just keep scrolling. Now I'm at a 6.0, right? Why don't you just condense this so I just click it? It should just be a bunch of green lines. Like, look, I have to go all the way up to the top. There. And this is, sells a lot more than an average book, but this should be all condensed. It should just be 9.9. I click it, I open it up, and boom, 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 right? You could even maybe go by the months too if you want to do that. But it's just, look at this. If I'm going to scroll down to like a 3.0, hey, I have to go down. And the thing is, CovrPrice doesn't have nearly as much data as the other companies do. So it's only going to get worse. So they need to fix that. That brings me to the next point is they don't have as much data. They don't go as far back. Like the GPA has been doing this since almost the beginning of, CGC's been out. And this one, not as much. CovrPrice is fairly new. Like they only have it was only sold 3 comics as a 9.6 in all 2013. Find that hard to believe. That's not true. I think it really looks like it started probably around 2017, 2018. That's when they have a lot of data. Look at all this data. And they get more and more and more. So I think they're trying to go back and collect old data. But until then, it's like one sale, you got a couple sales, then a couple sales, then yeah. Their oldest one is 2009, right? I showed you earlier that GPA goes back to 2002. I get it, but there just seems like a lot of hoops to jump through, and the data is kind of bare bones in terms of like you can't jump into it and see pictures. Like I have no idea. All I see is this, a number and a date. I can't click it like the other sites and see a picture or maybe where it was sold from, some kind of tracking of data. So that's kind of like, I would say, the negatives of this. Also, another one is, what if I want to search by title, right? So I'm searching by title. You know, it takes a long time. Like every time you have to do this, it takes time. You know, okay, so let's just do this one. 100 issues. So you have all these issues right here. That's great, right? But let's say I click Spider-Man 14. And then I want to jump to Spider-Man 100, right? There's no way to do that. I literally would have to search for it again or go back to this list, right? And, you know, then I have to scroll through these pages and then load again. And it's like, that's why I'm saying hoops. All these hoops that you have to jump through. Super annoying. I don't like it. And this takes longer. So that's kind of like my main complaints. Okay, so here are the negatives for GoCollect. I would say this is very jumbled, right? There's a lot going on, and it's very just kind of confusing, kind of looks like. Not very concise. There's so much stuff just everywhere. Things moving, like nonstop, and it moves on its own. I'm not moving the mouse or anything. So that's kind of like off-putting when I see all this stuff, right? That I'm not. I liked CovrPrice's better, how they had theirs layout. It was very nice. It's like they're just trying to put too much stuff on one page. Also, it's the flow of it is not very good. Just like I said before, a lot of hoops. I have to go, if I want to search by series. Okay, so after I search by series, Iron Man. You know, here we go. Let's click that. Good thing I know what the picture of number 1 looks like. So then you have, you know, all of them right here. But you have to jump through more pages if you want to go back, or you can just search for the particular one you want. I complained about this before. A lot of times when you look back at old data, right, it has the images is great, but then as the links, it goes nowhere. Like, what's the point of having the link then? Like, maybe you should. No, I'm not going to keep on giving advice for people. I can give tons of advice. But, all right, another thing which has gotten better, but their fair market value is just trash. It just doesn't work. Look at this one. $12.50 is fair market value. Let's look at the most recent sale. $13.50, $13.25. $1,500 best offer, we don't know what it is. Let's look at July, $16.80. June, $1,300. May, best offer, we don't know what it is. Then we got one here for $865. I don't know, that seems really low. But then here, another one, $2,200, $1,100. Only when you go down to the very bottom, literally 6 months ago, is it under this. If you look at the most recent, right, $13.50, $13.25, a best offer, let's just say it's around the same, $16.80, $1,300, all above that. And it works the opposite way too, where the fair market value is too much. And many times I have customers like, fair market value on GoCollect is blah, blah, blah. I'm like, don't look at that. I don't know how they do their metrics, but it's always off. It's never right. This is new, 1 year average, 9-day average, 30-day average. This is new stuff, right? This is what you would want to go by. Don't go by this. They just need to delete this altogether. What is the point? Now you just have another line of things in the way, right? They have some algorithm, and obviously it just calculates it, boom, 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 right? Going up to the thing. You just need this. You just need your 30-day average, 90-day average, 1 year average. That's what you need. You don't need this. This is just confusing, and yeah. These are sales. It'd be nice if they just drew an average line through it. But whatever. But I would say that is the biggest complaint, is the fair market value. It's just kind of worthless. Also, another thing, I don't know how this is with the new site, but many times I've used GoCollect and it's down. Like I've gone to it and it just doesn't work. The website's like, oh, it just doesn't load or something. They have updated their website, like I said, so maybe that will fix it. I don't know. I've only used this a few times with their new stuff. It has sped up a little bit, but it's still just a lot of hoops and a lot of stuff going on. That's kind of like my negatives. All right, so here are my negatives for the GPA analysis. Yeah, I would say it's pretty bare bones. Like there's really no extra content. Like you go into their news, it has no top 10, it has no speculation. It's just kind of random stories. Okay, a review on a comic book. Like the other sides give way more like bang for your buck, so to speak. And yeah, they just give way more stuff. Different, I talked to the CovrPrice and they sit there and write all these blogs and they come up with these top 10 lists. It's just like a ton of stuff. It's very basic looking. This is it. Like this is all you get. I mean, that is a blessing and a curse in itself. If you really like the basic look, then this is great. But if you want more flash, make it look a little newer, this is not for you. So my issue with like a lot of them is you'll come in here and you'll be able to click to go to some sites, right? This one. But if my comic shop takes down this listing, it's gone. And a lot of them you can't even click. All right. So it'd be nice if you could click this and it just opens another page and it just shows a picture of the listing and it shows a picture of the comic. Like some of them get it right, some of them don't. Like GoCollect is leaning towards the better way, but it's just very, very old school.
Now that we just went through all the negatives, let's go through the positives and see which one offers something better than the other competitors.
All right, now for the positives of CovrPrice. Looks amazing. By far the best looking one of the three. Even like the comics look great. Look at like the little detail. They have like this drop shadow on them, right? It's just like little details. It just looks very nice. It looks very current, looks very modern. I can't say enough about how it looks. They have the best blog, I guess, content, right? They have these weekly movers. They have, their Monday top 10, top hottest comic, top keys to get. They have so much information. And on top of that, they also give you more detailed information when you get into it. And they'll send you an email on this top 10 explaining why they put them in here and what it means. And I find that very useful because I need to know what's going on in the industry. There's so much, comic news coming out left and right. It's like, oh, I found out that Jake Gyllenhaal was, going to be the prophet and, from, CovrPrice because I can't keep up with all the news that's going on, so it's just really nice to have all this so much data, even like the new releases and what's going on. And they give, look at these, the pictures are great too. Like very, very nice, like scans or however they get the pictures. Very, very great. It also has like a lot of the most interesting data. Like I've showed you before, like how many units have sold of a particular book and things like that. All these, up or down, what's going on with everything. You can look in the raw, like that is unique to CovrPrice. And it's like, look at all this interesting data, like how many have sold in a given day, right? And that's, very interesting. So I would say that's what I really like about CovrPrice is their extra content and, how it looks and all the extra information and data you get from it. Okay, so here's what I like about GoCollect. I like that you have other collectibles, video games and posters, right? That's pretty nice that you can look into data if you're interested in that stuff. They also have a decent amount of news, write-ups, top 10s, things like that I, find interesting and are very, very appealing to me. You can also save your collections and put in the price. So you could do that in CovrPrice as well, which is very nice. And you can kind of track it and see how much it's gone up and things like that. So this is my favorite feature that none of the other ones have. I love this feature. You come over here, comics by series. I love this series. Spider-Man, right? We're going to search for Spider-Man. There's going to be a million that pop up, I'm sure. And it broke the system.
Well, this is not going very well for GoCollect now, is it? Let's try this again. Maybe I'll try something different. Iron Man. Okay, there it worked. Iron Man. Here we go. Okay, Spider-Man too much. All right, so come into here. This is my favorite feature right here. This is very nice to have. You can hit this, the only keys, which will show you basically ones that have something about it, a key about it. If not, right here. Let's say I only want to look at Iron Mans that sell above $100. Boom, right here. Things like that. You want to do $5,000. There, we got only 5 comics that have sold above 5,000. This is probably like a 9.8, obviously, first, Thanos. And there you go. I love this feature because this will help me a ton when I get a stack of, say, modern Sandman, and I have no idea which ones are expensive and which ones aren't. And so then I can go in here and I can look and I can go best feature. Saves me tons of time. So here are the positives of GPA analysis, right? It's fast, lightning fast, right? And someone like me that needs to, look up a bunch of books all the time, it gives me the data really fast. No hoops really to jump through. There, boom, I have Spider-Man 16. All this right here, I can save the series that I want, right? Any series I want. Look at Brave and Bold. It pops up with all of them right here. I can jump into 28, it gives me a little bit of data. I can scroll down to, number 40 if I want, stay on the same page. It's really quick, really fast. So we look here. We can look at, this is for Silver Age Hawkman. You can see the graphs. I like the graph. Gives me a little more data that I like to have. But the best thing, also it has the most data. The GPA analysis will have the most data out of all the 3, by far, in terms of length. So if you have to look for a really old comic, let's look at some Captain America comics #1, right? And you're trying to figure out a price. These are for pages. Look how often they sell. Barely at all. The last time a 4.5 sold was 2011 in August. Before that was 2004. We have 3 sales. 04, 2010, 2011, right? If you're coming more rare, obscure book, you need this to have lots of data to figure out what they go for, right? If you're looking at some of those old horror books from the 40s and 50s that only have a couple sales total, and they only have a couple on the census, you need those old sales data to kind of gauge. So that's what I like about that. Speed, so fast, I can't stress enough how fast it is to search for something, just boom, open it up. How long would this take me on the other side? So I want to go to, Batman 112. Okay, I looked that up. Okay, now I want to go back and let's see, I want to look up, Astonishing Tales, right? And then it's let's go to 32, okay, boom. Now I can see how much that is. To do one comic on the other side, so I could probably do 10 on, the GPA. Just look, and it loads fast because they don't have all those graphics and all those things going everywhere. You can just load things really, really quickly, and it's just the data. So that's why I like it. All right, before I jump into my overall thoughts and everything, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button. Thanks. Okay, so now I'm going to give you my overall opinion. For CovrPrice, my overall thoughts are this is great for a new collector or someone who's just getting started because it has a lot of great information that someone who's new doesn't know a whole lot. And so this has a ton of good information for someone that's new, and then also continuous, even if you're not new, has good information for their top 10, their blogs, their speculation. It also has the best kind of visuals and layout, I would say, that makes it probably above the rest of them, the other competitors. I'd say the downside, though, is it doesn't have a long history of sales data, which that's why I suggest it for someone new. If you're someone who's been in a long time, you want that old history. So that is a really big downside. Another downside is sometimes when you get into the step that you want, it's a little more too spread out, and if they condensed it a lot more, it'd be a little easier. But overall, It's great because it has like raw stuff that you won't find in any of the other competitors. And that's just really good for someone who doesn't have like, is just new in the industry and doesn't have like a high budget, and so needs to go for more of the raw stuff compared to the graded stuff, and they can see kind of what's trending and not. So let's do GoCollect. I feel like this is perfect for your average collector, someone who wants to track their collection and basically see what it's worth. Also has a lot of bonus content, things that make you want to keep coming back with the different blogs, different top 10, seeing what's hot and not sort of thing. The downsides though, their fair market value is a little wonky and doesn't really work. And so it kind of gives like people a false sense of what their comics are actually worth. And then also they just cram way too much stuff in there, and it kind of like gets a little confusing on everything they have. It's not very streamlined. But overall, if you're just an average collector or you dabble a little bit in dealing, this is just a good overall, nice experience, and it gives you the information that you really need. So the GPA analysis, my overall thoughts is this is perfect for a comic book dealer or an investor. Like someone who doesn't want to spend a bunch of time looking at all that other content, like the blogs, they don't really care about the, and the extra content, top 10, things like that. If you're an investor, you just want to come in, see what your investment looks like, and it's really quick and really fast, and it gives you the graphs, and you can see how much of a return you've gotten. And if you're a comic book dealer and you're looking at hundreds, if not thousands of comics a day, you don't want to be bogged down by jumping through hoop after hoop after hoop. You just want to get in and get out. So that's what it's really good for. The downside though is if you want more of that stuff, like your blogs, your top 10, a little more flash visually, you're not going to get that with the GPA analysis. It's straight up bare bones, just like a price guide. That's it. It also has the oldest history that really helps when you're trying to find those rare, hard to find comics. So I'd recommend this for anyone that's a seasoned comic book dealer or someone who's just an investor who doesn't really care about comics per se and looks more as an investment. Okay, so now for the price. CovrPrice is $2.95 a month, but you can jump up to their unlimited plan, which is $6.95. GoCollect is $9 a month, and the GPA Analysis is $10.95 a month. So now that I've kind of given you what each of them is used for, I'm gonna give you what I actually use. Because I feel like each one has like something that could be unique for everyone. But me personally, what I use is the GPA analysis because it's just so much faster. I'm looking up hundreds, if not thousands of comics a day. I don't have time. Like the difference between jumping through all those hoops that I've showed you and load times, adding 5 seconds to each comic I look at adds up to hours in the end of the day. It's just, you have so many comics I have to go through. So it doesn't really, it's not beneficial for me to have all those hoops and load times to go through. But I will say I use all three. I'm subscribed to all three. I use them for different reasons, and each one has something that I actually need. But I would say like 90% of my work, I use the GPA analysis, and the other 10% goes between the other two that I need. For example, GoCollect has comic link sales, which is a big deal. Like, especially if I'm looking for something that's a little more rare and I need a little more sales data, I'll jump into GoCollect, But then, CovrPrice has their top 10, which really helps me because they do these amazing write-ups. I can't give enough credit for the people that write this stuff. Do amazing write-ups that really help me understand everything that's going on with all the rumors, speculation, and all that stuff's going on in the comic market that I'm not aware of, and they just really help me out by speeding up that process instead of me like literally reading every news article that ever comes out. So overall, that's kind of like what I use, and these are my overall thoughts. Let me know in the comments below which one you guys use or are thinking about using, or maybe you have multiple, maybe use two. And if you do use them, tell me what you mainly use them for, because I'm always kind of curious on what other people think beyond myself. All right, thank you.